Today we have a very special guest joining us for a special interview with Law Today. He is not only a former lawyer, but he is also a mentor for students who wish to get into law and has also got the top 5 students, if I'm not wrong, in the past year. Of the top 10, top 5 students were from his law classes, which are called Nishant Prakash Law Classes. So let's speak to Mr. Nishant Prakash and let's find out a little bit about him. Nishant, thank you for joining us here and for agreeing to talk to us a little bit about your story.
Thank you so much for having me here.
So let's start from the beginning.
Yeah.
You used to be a lawyer, corporate lawyer, if I'm not wrong. How did you transition from being a lawyer to somebody who is into legal education and coaching classes?
Okay, so of course I've graduated from National Law University in Raipur.
Okay.
Thereafter, I worked for a couple of law firms. Initially, few lawyers and then law firms. But then again, this is what we call following your passion, right? So gradually, after working for almost 7 to 8 years in the top law firms of the country, possibly I understood that, it's the passion of teaching which drives me apart from other luxuries of life. So eventually, after doing everything, I thought, let's do what I'm meant to do. And since then, I have been teaching, and I think God has been kind. And I know I am very happy about what I'm doing at the moment.
So how did Nishant Prakash Law Classes come into being? Like once you decided to leave the job and wanted to get into teaching?
No, so I'll tell you, I have always been teaching. While I was working for law firms, I used to utilize my weekends for teaching.
Okay.
So gradually, while I was working in one of the law firms, my teaching part started shooting off. Then, they used to call me. So, eventually 80% of the people who used to call me, I thought they would give some matter to me or something. But it was like my son is in 11th, 12th and all. So gradually I understood, I think I'm meant more towards teaching than the actual profession of law. Then I started, and considering it was Nishant sir everywhere. So I thought, what better than, putting your own name. And then I started Nishant Prakash Law Classes. And I didn't want to brand it. Reason being, you see, branding, when you get into branding, the motive becomes different from teaching. Then why do you create a brand? Because you want to incorporate other teachers in that, and then you eventually would want to expand. My intentions have been very clear. I do not have expansion plans a lot. I am doing what I'm doing because it gives me a sense of satisfaction. Otherwise, I think the corporate law firms were taking very good care of me. So eventually, the reason I'm doing it because I enjoy doing it.
But was there any apprehension in deciding to leave law full time? I mean, although you've not left
it was such a huge transition. It's not that easy. I remember when the last law firm I was working was Luthra and Luthra. So when I went to my boss and I told that, I'm leaving my job for teaching. So he thought I'm too tired of, everything. So he advised me not to, to take a holiday for like 4 or 5 months and rest and then come back. So then I told, sir, then possibly I'm a different person altogether. So my motive is very clear that, I want to do something which not only gives me satisfaction, but also, the feeling of doing something for a child, जब किसी बच्चे का हो जाता है, when they come to me and they say कि sir I'm through Bangalore, Hyderabad, whatever, so वो जो एक satisfaction होता है, that is not something which you can compare or any paycheck or any luxury of life is not something which can actually come, उसको नहीं उसको पार कर पाएगा. So इसलिए I was very happy and thankfully things have been going great. What I planned, it's going well.
But there might have been some challenges.
Yeah,
right?
I do.
What was the biggest challenge that you faced?
No, so see, starting anything of your own in Delhi is an expensive affair, right?
Correct.
And then, see, even today, I'll tell you, I just pick 60 people out of I think my center has a footfall of over 700 students. I pick 60 of them and then I train them. So if you want to also have a quality control and you want to take a smaller number of people, then it becomes a challenge because everything in Delhi is quite expensive, right? So of course, I do not belong to Delhi. So, taking an infrastructure and everything was an issue. Teachers was not a concern because I myself used to teach. So that way it was fine, but then and then leaving a salary, you become very used to it. Every first of the month you get a salary and फिर वो भी नहीं आएगा, and then you have other expenses was of course difficult, and the most important was to convince to my parents and my family that I'm leaving a
Do they think you're crazy?
Yeah, yeah. I think I've keep giving such similar shocks all throughout my life. I remember when I planned to do law,
Huh.
and not going by the regular course of engineering or all, then also it was a shock for my parents. So I think gradually they have understood ki he'll do what he wants to.
Right.
So I think I have ticked off, went to a national law school, worked for tier one law firms. And then, I enjoyed till 2018, I used to work for a law firm. So I enjoyed it then. It's not that I was not enjoying my law firm life or corporate life. I was fine with it. But eventually I understood, I'm done with this now. So let us, do
Thought your
something else.
calling was somewhere
Yeah. So I think, and at the moment I'm enjoying this. I do not know till when it goes, but yes, at the moment I'm enjoying, and I think my life makes some sense. मुझे अपना लाइफ बहुत फ्रूटफुल लगता है. मुझे लगता है कि आप कुछ तो अच्छा कर रहे हैं. So that way,
Satisfaction.
yeah, it's
So that's a great segue into my next set of questions. So like you said, your classes are very exclusive. You only select 60 students in one batch. So what is the criteria on the basis of which you narrow down from a 700 applications down to 60 students?
I'll tell you, see, there's no criterion as such. It's not that I take a test and I take best of them and I'll pick. It mostly who comes first, right?
Okay.
But I speak to all the children who want to join me, and I want to take a vibe that whether the child is actually serious towards doing law or he's just coming because what happens is there's a set of people who join institutes in 11th because everybody else does, right? They think this is a
Or
necessary.
because their parents want
Yeah,
them
and
to.
or their parents want them to. I would refrain myself coaching similar people because I would want कि अगर आए हो तो qualify करो. If you're here, then you are here for a purpose. So, I generally check the vibe. If I find that that the child is serious, doesn't matter academically, I do not even see what 10th marks or 12th marks or you have to qualify. Yes, I do check their language standards once to understand if I'm taking a batch of 60, all those 60 has to be on a similar platform. Because if you have people from very diverse backgrounds, so language is not something which you can build in a day, right? So किसी का language बहुत struggling phase में है, कोई बहुत अच्छा है, then you cannot just do justice to both the sides, right? So I generally take people जिनका language का level is at par with each other so that I can club them together and teach them. That's the only criterion. Otherwise, generally, I try to check the vibe. If the child is serious, I'm happy to train you. If you are not, I don't think at least Nishant Prakash Law Classes is the place for you.
So what is the secret for your stellar results? Like I said in the introduction, last year out of the top 10 students, 5 were from Nishant Prakash Law Classes.
And it's among just 60.
Right, exactly, among 60 students. So what is it that you do that is different from what all other coaching classes are doing?
I'll tell you. So basically, first is the quality control. Considering we have lesser number of people, we justify, every child is in touch with us, right? So at my place, they will not call you by enrollment number or something. No, that's not the concept. Everybody knows you by name, right? Sab ek dusre ke, all the children are very good friends with each other. So what I do is I inculcate a sense of competitiveness within them, because that's the must for the exam. See, if they're like 80,000, 90,000 people writing the exam for like 1,500 seats, then of course the competition is quite fierce. Correct. Right? So that way, considering we have a very lesser number of people at center, so that we justify. And second is, it's a very rigorous form of teaching. I simply believe that if you are want to crack an entrance, तो फिर वो ये आसानी से नहीं हो पाएगा. रीजन भी क्योंकि इंडियन एग्जामिनेशन सिस्टम का जो एसेंस है, competition means elimination. They do not want to take you. They want to eliminate you, right? And then there are portions like general knowledge and all, which is, see, अगर आपको किसी भी exam को, any exam you want to make it difficult, just put general knowledge section in that. It becomes almost syllabusless sort of exam. Then you keep trying. So that way, yes. So we actually work very hard, and all the efforts, being lesser number of students and everything, it goes well. And then the children are very connected with me. I somehow believe that with these kids, if you can, just relate with them, then they'll do anything you want. So possibly God has been kind, and so they actually do what I say. So then I can govern their minds, and That's how it moves.
So special focus you're able to give to
Yeah. So it's all because we give individualistic, that attention is there, and in comparison to other places, because most of the institutes, the competitors, if you say, I don't want to term them as a competitor, but yes, what happens is they're all working in franchise mode. So they have one center in X city, Y
Correct.
city, and then they have given like say 50, 60 centers
It's a
everywhere.
brand.
So the moment you get into a brand, see, education is not a McDonald's burger कि आप खा लिए और खत्म हो गया, right? So see, if I am a franchisee taker, right? अगर आपका franchisee मैंने लिया है, so what is my purpose? The main franchisee owner would be looking for some money, right? Then I need to generate revenue, right? So for generating revenue, where will the revenue come from? It will come from students, right? So of course that race starts to have maximum number of students.
Correct.
The moment you get into that race of getting maximum number of students, the quality has to get depleted, right? So I've seen people boasting we have 70,000 students, we have 60,000. See, try to understand there are only 1,500 seats. Or maybe 2,000 seats, right? So if you are taking 70,000 people, you yourself know that 68,000 of your students will not get through. Correct. Right? Then how what is there to boast about this, that we have 70,000 or 50,000, 40,000? You're telling everybody that you will be rank 1, rank 2. You have pictures all over rank 1, rank 2, and then that 80% of them will not qualify. Correct. So I am not a person who would want to get into this race. I simply don't. If you come to my center, we do not even have a signboard outside, right? Everybody comes through through somebody's reference, and I believe I'm not the person ever who will sit and convince ki please come to my center. There is no receptionist at center. There is nobody to convince you. You do. If anybody calls me, and this is the and sometimes they ask, why should I come to you and not go? I simply fold my hands. I say, please do your research yourself. And if you get convinced, do not provoke me to say ki hota na, I am the best. Do your research. If you want to come, otherwise don't. And anyways, out of 700, I just have to take 60 people. So I am also in a mode of elimination only. So it's fine. If somebody, I would be the last person to convince that you should come to my center.
So do you also do like recorded classes and all, like other coaching
No, we don't.
centers
We don't.
do? So your focus is only on live classes?
Only on live classes.
Why is that? Is that conscious?
Yes, that is there, because I told you that connect is there. Recorded classes, of course, if somebody says that we want doubt classes and all, we'll do 100 times. But we'll not give you the recordings of those classes. Some maybe newspaper discussions and all we do. Otherwise, the hardcore teaching we do not, right? First is that. And second, of course, live classes has a different connect altogether when you interact with children and all. So even the online students who connect with us, they are very attached. So they all keep coming to Delhi. They come meet. In fact, this year, rank 2 was from our center in A-Late. He was an online student. Rank 4 was from one of our students. He was from, and it never felt that they're online students. They all have been seeing me, all throughout. So it was quite, online classes is at par offline. So it's good. So we try our best to justify everything we do, and the connect with the child is quite big.
Do you think there are any misconceptions about law entrance coaching that is there in people's mind that you want to clarify?
Yes, there are many people who think that it's very super easy because the language part is involved.
Correct.
And when you go to an English school, so both the child and the parents are in a state of mind, because parents को लगता है कि अरे मैं तो English school में पढ़ाया हूँ, and my child, it has to be good, because उसको अपना पूरा वो fees भी तो याद आने लगता है, the amount of fees he has paid all this while just because he is studying in an English school. And I can tell you about the grade A school, the big school, the big brands and all. So these kids also feel that they are very good at language. So first of all, वो जो misconception है अंदर में कि I am very good at language has to be taken care of.
English आती है तो exam clear हो जाएगा.
Exam clear हो जाएगा. So that is a huge misconception, right? Because English आने वाले आप ही नहीं हैं. There are so many other people who know, right? So out of lakh people who are writing the exam, 80,000 is good at English. So that is something which is there. So somehow, sometimes children think, no, this is an easy exam. But then again, it's quite a, they ask you critical reasoning and the options are so close. So they give you a passage, and they'll ask you what is the mood of the author, and then when you read it you find ki ha theek hai, the author is happy, but with the moment you go to options, one
Happy
of the
hoga hi
options would
nahi.
be happy, second option would be very happy, third option would be extremely happy. Now where do you stop? Where do
Right.
you understand the author is very happy or extremely happy, right?
Correct.
So that's where the it comes with loads of practice, and I do not think they are looking for people with good language, but they are looking for people with extremely good language. Matlab you actually have to play with the language part, then only you can come among the top ones.
So tell me something. You've been part of the national education policy that specifically talks about what we should do regarding not just education but also specifically legal studies in India. And along with that, recently we've also seen matters come up in Supreme Court talking about how there are issues related to the CLAT exam, how some of the questions were wrong or the options that were given were incorrect. So do you think there is a need to reform legal education in India, and to what extent?
Very, it is the need of the hour.
Okay.
The way CLAT was conducted this year, it could not have been conducted in a worse way.
Why do you say that?
See, I'll tell you. So, CLAT had so many errors in the paper. So, I'll tell you, forget about the answer discrepancies and all. There were 4 questions. It was a reasoning question. There were 4 questions. The options were not there among the while they were doing. So, these guys could do it. And the moment they went to options, those options were not there. Now, the children.
The answer was not part of the option.
Yes. So, now the children who is writing an exam, now you cannot, presume or while he's writing the exam, how can he even think of that the questions itself is wrong?
Correct.
उसको क्या लगेगा कि मुझे नहीं आता. So they kept trying, but they could not because उनका तो fault ही नहीं था ना. It was the framer's fault. Now, if you and these exams have 120 questions to be done in 120 minutes, they spent good 15 16 minutes doing that question. Now what CLAT later did was they told कि नहीं ये चारों question को we are striking it off. Now how can you just because removing 4 questions, how can you justify the time they invested? Where they expected to know that the framer of the questions are, the questions were wrong. How can they even think about that? So that is a disaster, right? And then secondly, there are a couple of answers which are wrong. There are 2 answers the High Court of Delhi has already stated that you cannot mark these answers, right? Now, if you are conducting a national level entrance for which students are preparing for the entire year, or there are so many years we do not have the drop culture, but when I go to tier 2 cities or the smaller ones, so the 2 years, 3 years they invest, and then you cannot come up with one correct paper. That is something which has to be taken care of, because it's not about 80,000-90,000 students, it's their parents and everybody else is. And again, it doesn't bring a good name to the consortium also, right? How can you do that? You just have to make one single paper, at least you can do that. And we take mock tests and all. We almost frame 100 papers a year. They can't even make one. That is something which has to be taken care of. Otherwise, it will bring a bad name to them.
There was a time in our country where the general perception was कि जो बच्चा कुछ नहीं कर पाता वो लॉ कर लेता है, जो मतलब सबसे फिसड्डी बच्चा होता है उसको लॉ में भेज देते हैं. और कंपेयर टू 2024-2025 जहाँ लॉ के एंट्रेंसेस भी इतने competitive हो गए हैं. I mean, the number of students that are applying, the number of students that are getting through, सबको NLU जाना है. So, how do you think this transition has happened? And keeping this in mind, what kind of changes do we need to bring to the system to ensure that this becomes better?
No, this has changed a lot. I remember my times, when I decided to do law. I told you that I think that was the first shocker I was giving to my parents. So the not only my parents, entire community and entire all my family, relatives, everybody went against me. Why law? Then I told कि national law school होता है. They're not able to understand, and nobody was even taking it up. क्या है ये? So एक टाइम था जब लॉ अपने बिल्कुल पीक पे था. इफ यू रिमेंबर जवाहरलाल नेहरू एंड ऑल, एवरीबॉडी
correct.
यूज्ड टू डू लॉ. बीच में there were so many law colleges which were opened, and it went so unregulated that the quality of legal education actually declined. Now after national law schools, 88 national law school Bangalore came, 99 Nalsar came, and the plethora of colleges now. So every state almost has a NLU. So now things are changing. Now I'll tell you, Delhi mein, it's no more a stream of elimination. Now I know so many students who are right from class 6, 7, they are clear they want to do law. So this is the transition. We at our center, we have toppers from so many schools who want to pursue law. So they could also have ended up doing engineering or medical. So things have changed, but things have not changed entirely. Still, 70% of the people who come here, first of all, they get scared with maths कि नहीं है, maths is an issue, तो फिर वो engineering छोड़ते हैं. Then physics, chemistry issue लगता है, तो फिर वो biology, वो medical side छोड़ते हैं, and they come. So 70% is still like that. 30%, of course, now the law has become their first career choice. Second is, I'll tell you, the concept of, Indian parents and students both, they're very motivated towards the package system. क्या होता है कि why do you think engineering popped up so well? क्योंकि क्या होता था कि engineering करने के बाद you were offered a package of so many lakhs, or maybe after IIMs and all, you used to. Now that culture has come into law as well. After law firms coming into picture, now they also get a good offer of this many bags. So that is also a second, that is actually has started fascinating students. And third, I think I personally give loads of credit to this series called Suits, right? So after watching Suits,
सबको हार्वी स्पेक्टर
सबको हार्वी स्पेक्टर बनना है. So now, actually, I can tell you about the metro cities. Now the children are like, when they come to our classes, then I ask, why do you want to do law? तो पहले वो बोलते हैं कि we want to do something for the society. Then all थोड़ा सा और पिंक करने पे they बोलते हैं कि नहीं सर, हमें थोड़ा पैसा भी कमाना है. And last में बोलते हैं सर Suits देखे. तो I think Suits has contributed more than anybody else, towards.
So if there is a student who's in, say, 10th, 11th right now, who's unsure about what way he wants to go, but has interest in law, how would you tell them, how does a student make up his mind whether or not to pursue law?
I'll tell you, when you come to humanities side, you have 2-3 options left. So engineering is gone, medical is gone. Now then you can do economics honors, you can do law, you can do hotel management, you can do psychology honors and all, if you want to land up in a professional course. So, and now children are in a hurry basically. So everybody wants to land up in a professional college. So as per me, if I evaluate, I find economics honors and law to be the best ones. And if I feel that if you are good at language, certainly you should try this side of the career. Because law as a profession, I can tell you, this is one career which can actually justify all your cravings. If I look at the children here, children these days, or maybe everybody, they are either fascinated towards power or money. The two things, there are lesser number of people like me who goes this way, but it's generally power or money. I think this is one career which can cater to both your cravings, and also if you want to help anybody in society as a whole, right? Then if you know law, you know what is right and what is wrong, right? There are so many things you can do. And power, when I say you have the exclusive option of clearing judiciary exams and all, which nobody else can write, only lawyers can write, right?
Right.
And then of course the profession is there wherein you can practice. If you're a good practitioner, become a judge. So I don't think there's any other career which gives you so much of flexibility and so much of options what law can offer you.
And there's one advice that anybody who asks me, that I tell them, is that if you enjoy studying and if you enjoy learning, then you get into it, because it's a lifelong of studying.
Definitely.
Whether you're a judge, whether you're a lawyer, you have to make sure you keep studying.
Definitely.
Judgments,
you need to enjoy reading. This is what the essence of the CLAT paper is as well. The entire paper is reading comprehension.
Correct.
So if you enjoy reading, you will love this paper as well. If you do not enjoy reading per se, this is what I tell in the first lecture as well, that if you do not enjoy reading, you will get bored. After a while, initially you will be in a very high josh ke I need to get into Bangalore. Kuch din ke baad you will see, why is this so much of reading? So anybody who enjoys reading should join this as a profession. As a profession, I think law is quite good.
And what about those people who are confused as to what to do after law? I mean, there was a time when there was a choice between या तो litigation कर लो नहीं तो corporate law कर लो. अब बहुत सारे avenues open हो गए. अब आप litigation भी कर सकते हो, अब आप law firm में भी जा सकते हो,
आप मीडिया में
अब
भी
आप
जा सकते हो,
मीडिया में भी जा सकते हो, आप education में भी जा
Education में भी
सकते
जा
हो,
सकते हो.
आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो. Like so many avenues have opened up. So how do you bring some direction to students who are confused कि law एक बार कर लिया, national law school में घुस गए, उसके बाद क्या करना?
See, national law school में तो घुस गए, ठीक है. So first thing what fascinates everyone. See, national law schools were created not to send people in law firms, right? They were created to create good practitioners. But then again, I told you the package system fascinates Indian students a lot. So, of course, law firms have become the first priority. Second, of course, litigation is there, right? Third, if you want to get into academia, now there are so many law schools in India because law as a profession is coming up so well that they're giving you good salaries and everything is so that is third is there. Fourth, of course, NGOs, media, and everything. Fifth, you can also go abroad and work for United Nations, and these things are there. Then, of course, the teaching side, all these things are so. I think by third year the children at NLUs or law schools, general law schools as well, so they all start understanding that what I am meant for or what interests me the most. So I always suggest everybody to do what interests you, because otherwise you will not be able to survive long. Initially you think कि see, if somebody tells me कि mergers and acquisitions में बहुत सारा पैसा है, so I start doing that, and after a year I feel कि what am I doing? Or maybe this goes for everywhere, right? So it's very important that you enjoy what you are doing. Then only you will survive last. Otherwise, attrition rate is so high in law firms as well.
Correct.
They leave it. So they work for a year and
But
all.
they're leaving for other law firms only.
No, I know so many people who leave it for litigation as well.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
they've started doing
That's
that because they have now they have understanding. Bringing or making your own name is a different level of kick.
Correct.
Like I'm ex-practitioner or I'm working for somebody. So I think I've spoken to so many people. In fact, a couple of my friends as well. So they all left and they're doing very well for themselves in the profession as well. Because it took couple of years, maybe like 3-4 years, but they all are quite established now and they justify what they were getting at the law firm. So that is there.
Okay, so last question. If a student wants to be successful, not just while giving the entrance exam, but also later on in his career in law, what would you advise him? And as somebody who's worked in a law firm, how different is it from a Harvey Specter or a Mike Ross?
No, I think Indian law firms, I think they are good places to work. Definitely they are good places. You have good bosses. They'll make you work. See, if a boss is very sweet, which means that's not the correct way of functioning, right? The boss has to be bad. Otherwise, the juniors will not work. So this is how it works. So law firms actually make you work hard. But then again, all the facilities they give you, the offices are good. They are located at good places. The colleagues you have, they're all good people. Your vibe will match because they're all coming from law schools. So law firms are good places to work. In comparison to, when I look at the litigation side of it, I think litigation is also good. But then again, creating your own establishments in a place like Delhi and then getting clients is a huge task. So that's
an uphill battle.
It's an uphill battle. It's not easy. As in, like people keep struggling on it, and so that ways I think law firms have given a good and with sort of salary structure they give. So I think they have reasons to be happy about. But yes, they make you work hard. So in case you can work hard, I think you will have to work hard at any place you join. Nobody is gonna spare you. Anybody who pays you will make you work. So that way, you need to understand what interests you more. If corporate structure, if you can eat sandwiches while driving in morning and you're fine with that structure. Otherwise, if you want to have your own life and you want to live it your way, and then you also want to do something for the society and also, so of course you can also be a teacher like me. Right, so that
no, Nishant, I've always believed teaching is a very noble profession, and I have huge respect for anybody who willingly, for the love of the art, gets into teaching.
Yeah, so we that is, it's a sense of satisfaction which at least drives me the most. I'm very happy what I'm doing. You can also make it out from me that this person is actually very happy. So that was, and the feeling is great. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nishant, for
Yeah.
coming here today.
Yeah.
So that is it, viewers, especially for all the law students who are watching us. Hope this session brought a little bit of clarity in not only what the exam can be like, but also what your future as a lawyer can be like. And like Nishant very correctly pointed out, education is not like McDonald's. You should not be able to get it everywhere. Especially quality education in cases like this are only happening at select places. So choose very carefully where you're sending your child and what kind of education he's getting. Nishant Prakash Law Classes is Nishant Prakash is here. Thank you so much for watching in, and thank you, Nishant, for speaking.
Thank you. Thank you.